Hi, so it is just about Halloween time, and I am gonna go carve a pumpkin with some friends and their kids today. So I'm gonna do some fun makeup and chat about friendships. So we'll start with foundation. I've been using Born This Way foundation lately, and I really like it. All right, and then some concealer. Matching concealer. Making friends has always been a little bit hard for me, but some of you may know that the older you get, the harder it gets to make friends. You get a little more set in your ways, and just kind of start to have a little bit, you know what you want. I've learned to not have as super high expectations as I tend to have with everything. Give people a chance, even if when I first meet them, I feel like we won't really get along, or even if at the first meeting I don't have a great first impression. Sometimes that happens, and then I end up, and then we do end up being friends. So, I'm putting on some powder now. I don't love this powder, but I'm just trying to use it up because I don't like wasting things. So yeah, because friendships are so important, especially when you're going through any type of mental illness, or even mild depression or anxiety. I mean, you need to have people there to support you, and who won't judge you and have kind of seen you when you're not in those conditions, and can be like, okay, I know this is not you. And sometimes they can even help to alert you to when, like, hey, I noticed that you haven't really been yourself lately. And that can really help too, because sometimes we can't see it in ourselves, and it helps if we have someone else to bring that to our attention. And being a military spouse, it's extra hard because you move every few years. It makes it hard in a lot of ways. You don't want to get, sometimes you feel like you don't want to get too close to people because you're just going to have to move again, but you realize that also at the same time that it's just so important to have those relationships. And I'm super thankful for the internet. I know a lot of people through the years like Facebook's evil, and I know there's a lot of issues with it, but for me it's been really amazing because it allows me to keep in touch with my family and friends after I move away. It would be way harder if I didn't have that, because after every time I move, I would be pretty much completely cut off from the relationships that I do have, and would have to really completely start over. It still feels like starting over now, but it's not as much. So I've got this awesome Morphe palette with a really cool orange, and I am just gonna, I didn't put powder on the top so that this would kind of stick in there more. Oh yeah. So I'm going to just start packing on some orange pumpkin-y color right into my hairline. I like to do stuff like this, especially when I go and hang out with my friends and their kids, because they get a kick out of it. The kids love it, of course. My friends like it too, but the kids are like, whoa. And I have face paints that I will bring over sometimes. I'm going to bring some over today, and it's really fun. And that's another thing for me. You learn certain things that help with your mood, and being around kids for me, especially little kids, is one of those things. So there was a time a couple years ago that I was going through a bad depressive episode, and I was working though at a kids salon, And man, it was so crazy, but really awesome to see how amazing I would feel when I was at work and around the kids. I would feel so happy, just have such a good time. But as soon as I left, the depression feelings would come right back. But it was almost like a drug. But it's good to find which things work like that for you, because obviously it's going to be different things for different people. It's kind of funny. I've worked in a couple of kids salons, and sometimes people I actually had one lady say to me one time, like, why would anyone work here? Because it's a bit crazy, if you can imagine, or if you are a parent and you've been to one of those places. But I just love it. It's so fun, and kids just have so much joy, they're not tainted by the world yet, and I just love that. It's infectious to me. It makes me smile, and it's so easy to make kids smile, and I love doing that. So that is something that always lifts my mood. And actually, because I like makeup on the neck, I'm going to do some down here too. And this is a brush that I got at Target, Sonia Kusek. I might be saying that wrong, but I got like a little pack of her brushes. They're not expensive, and I really like them. So brushes are personally one thing I don't like to spend a lot of money on. That's just me. Let's try a little shimmery kind of yellow color. And I've had some people in my life through the years who haven't really been able to handle being friends with or being in a relationship with someone who has mental illness, someone with bipolar, because I can imagine it's not easy, and I get that. Like, now I'm so much healthier than I used to be, so it's definitely not as bad. But in the past, I was a little hard to be around a lot of times. My husband is amazing and has always been amazing dealing with that. But, if you have a friend who is bipolar and, you just get really frustrated with them, I imagine it can be really hard. And sometimes you have to, you do have to keep boundaries, because you have to think about yourself too. It's never healthy to only try and be there for other people. That is just not sustainable. So, I would never recommend that. But try to be patient with your friend, but also, I'll be honest, what can make it even more frustrating is if the person is not doing anything to help themselves. I guess there's a line maybe where you kind of step back, and otherwise it becomes enabling to the behaviors. And that's one thing, again, that my husband was really good at when we were dating. And he's always just been able to strike this amazing balance of validating my feelings while also challenging me to help myself. So that's one suggestion too, even as a friend. You want to be there for them, but you'll be there for them, but you also want to encourage and challenge them to improve their conditions. For some reason, I've always been really good at taking my medications. I know that's a big problem for a lot of people with bipolar disorder, but still, sometimes there's been times where it has really helped to have my husband be like, okay, you need to take your medicine, because there have been times where I have been tempted to to stop. But that is never a good idea. Yeah, I have some really great friends here, and I've made so many great friends through the years. And like I said, you know, being able to keep in touch online is huge. I'm just using that same orange color. Also, I love any time I get the opportunity to do like fun, more extreme makeups, because for me it feels so natural. Like I wish I could, and not that I can't, but I wish that I could wear makeups like this more often. But you know, it's not that I'm concerned about what other people think, but there's some environments where it's not appropriate, or I just wouldn't feel comfortable because it's just not the right environment for that. So whenever I get a chance to, I do it. Like one of these friends, she had a birthday party for her daughter that was unicorn themed, and she asked me to do face paint for it, and so I did my face up, and kids loved it. And it was fun for me. And if you're someone who is not sure about trying to do fun makeup looks like this and is kind of nervous to try it, just try it. Like, don't be afraid to have to do it a certain way. You know, if you're going to a big event or something, don't just try it out that day. But just play around, and the more you do that, obviously, the easier it gets. And that's part of the fun of it, is being creative. A lot of times if I'm doing updos, I like to do that too. Just kind of start moving the hair around and placing it and seeing what I'm liking that day. Let's try putting some glitter on my eyebrows because I like glitter. This is a glue that is for glitter tattoos, but it washes right off. It's not the one that you usually use for glitter tattoos that stays on for a few days. Getting glitter all over. I know that's why some people hate glitter, but I do not care. I love glitter. It's freaking cute. Yes. I will say too, another reason I like makeup is I honestly feel like, just because the way my brain works, I guess, and I've always struggled with this just feeling bored. Well, maybe not always, but since I've gone through treatment and gotten healthy, you know, that's one reason why some people do stop taking their medication, because at first it feels super boring to feel normal and to not feel crazy or like feel because you know, when that's all you know, that is your normal. And so when that is gone, kind of creates well, for me anyway, like a bit of a like identity crisis, if you will. So, you know, doing stuff like this takes me out of that and lets me express myself in a really fun way that it doesn't make, like, I don't know, it just that make sense? Kind of. I mean, I guess a lot of people feel bored when they're not being creative. Because everyone is creative. Even if you don't consider yourself an artist or you wouldn't describe yourself as creative, everyone has that in them somewhere. And it's just going to be something different for everyone that inspires them to be creative. So it's going to try out different things and see what you are inspired by. The eyebrows are amazing. Let's put a little eyeliner. So this is another brush. Okay, so it's Sonia Kashuk. That's the brand of the other brush that I was talking about from Target, and I use this one like all the time. This and one other eyeshadow brush I use for almost everything, like on a day-to-day. So I did the liner, and then we'll put some more black under here. Some matte black because I like matte colors. Okay, loving that. Anyway, I've been enjoying this Tarte clay pot liner. I wasn't sure when I first got it because I was really used to always using liquid liners. And this one you actually brush on. So I wouldn't recommend this for beginners for sure. Like if you want to do winged liners, if you're a beginner, I would get a liquid liner with a felt tip that's almost like a marker. So it's more like drawing it on. One thing that can be hard with trying to do winged liners too is that everyone's eyes are a little different shape and not everyone has symmetrical eyes. I don't. This eyelid like comes down more than the other one. So it has become more so as I've gotten older, which happens. Skin moves around. But it makes it a little bit harder to get an even look from one eye to the other. I don't stress about it too much, to be honest with you. Some days I get it really well, and some days I don't. But you know what? It's not that serious. But just keep that in mind that you might have to actually apply it a little differently from one eye to the other, or for sure, like the way that the person does the tutorial that you see, you might have to apply yours in a different shape to get that. So again, with this eye, because my lid comes down more than the other side, I try not to go up as high, especially in the middle. So as I'm going along, I'll kind of stop and look at the two with my eyes resting, because also if I open them all the way like this, it's going to look more even. But when I'm just in this type of eyes normal, I can kind of compare them and make adjustments as I go along. And you know, as far as the age thing too, if you are over 30, or it's not even so much about age, because everyone's face kind of ages differently. It's not like everyone starts seeing a difference at a certain age, but I would say in general, after 30, you start seeing some differences. And so again, a lot of the tutorials that are being done by, you know, teenagers or dang it. by teenagers or people in their 20s whose skin is still really taut. It's a little different too. So I haven't checked out their channels yet, but I guess there are a few more mature ladies who do makeup tutorials, which is pretty awesome. I mean, this is not a tutorial channel, so I'm not gonna have, you know, a whole bunch of tutorials, but I like I do like makeup, I do like hair, so I might throw a few in, and I like the, you know, chit chat while we're doing it. See? Wait, I always tend to tilt my head to the side, but can you see? Okay, I'm tilting my head, but can you see how they're still not like 100% even? But I'm not symmetrical. No, I am not the perfect human specimen. It's all good. I'm not mad about it. I will say winged liner is one of my favorite makeup looks that I have been practicing forever. Get that reference, maybe? Somebody? Okay, this is looking good. Obviously we need lips, and what I do want to do is some like pumpkin lines. Alright, so I've got a really tiny little brush, and I'm going to make, you know, like the curved lines that are on a pumpkin. Pumpkin. I know it's pumpkin, but I like to say pumpkin. First, I change my mind a lot, which makes things take even longer, but whatever. Alright, so I'm gonna do a little bit of black contour here. Ooh, that's kind of a lot. Okay. Okay, we'll make it work. Not loving it, but we're gonna make it work. You know, you gotta be flexible too, because you'll be a lot less stressed out if you stay flexible in makeup and in life. Oops. Okay, that's a lot again. Alright, this isn't the best shadow to be doing this with, but oh my gosh, my hair keeps getting in the way. But you want to go up, 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 up. Well, this is how I do it anyway. Alright, it's all going to come together at the end, but I need more orange. That's the thing too, like I love being around people in real life. I mean, sure, the internet's great. I appreciate being able to communicate with people on there, but you know, just to be around people in person for me is so much better. But when I'm depressed, it does really drain me. And so I can't do it as much, even though I am a true extrovert in that being around people energizes me. I mean, when I'm at any level of depression, that like really changes. Right, that's pretty cool. Now I feel like I need to do it on the other side. You know what I would really love to try is doing drag makeup on someone. I love drag, and I have never tried to do that. Ooh, okay. It's not bad. let's do the lines. Okay. Also for me, doing makeup can be really therapeutic because when I'm doing makeup, especially in-depth stuff like this, like that's all I'm thinking about. And so it's a nice like distraction from real life, you know, which all of us need sometimes, let's be honest. Also, the more risks I take with it and kind of just let it happen, it helps with my perfectionism, because especially in the past, that was rough for me in trying to do any kind of art, because I had in my mind like a very specific way that it was supposed to look, and if it didn't look like that, I like hated it. So this helps me to be like, especially if I go in where I'm without a super specific, no, kind of helps for me to just let it be what it is. Again, life lessons from makeup. Okay, I feel like those are a little bit dark. Sometimes though, this happens a lot, like as I'm doing something, I'm like, oh, I don't know if that's really working. But then by the end, it all comes together. I'm gonna do some black lipstick, it's gonna look awesome. Oh yeah, I still need mascara. Okay, so let's get my hair out of the way. You could also do this with gray so that you're not committing right away to your lines. I'm just going for it. Makeup is a lot of experimenting. We didn't have YouTube or the internet when I was growing up, but I was just winging it when I played with makeup. So that was fun, you know? So there's something to be said about that and not just trying to follow tutorials. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but to actually let yourself be fully creative, like just start putting makeup on your face and see where it takes you. And honestly, I mean, I learned a lot by doing that, because you learn by doing. Right? Just like a lot of other things. Okay, this is not bad. Not sure it's looking like a pumpkin, but maybe it'll come together. Almost looks like spider. Looks a little better when it's lighter. But too late now, I'm not starting all over again. So that's for sure. Also learned to just let some things be good enough. Another thing, if you're a fellow perfectionist, that's really hard to do. To just be like, you know what? It's good enough. Move on. Super hard, but also super necessary sometimes. Just watched the episode of The Office again the other night, where Dwight's having I don't know what he calls it. It's like a Halloween, like hay. There's like hay rides and a corn maze and stuff like that. And then this girl comes running up and she's like, I found the needle in the haystack. And he was like, great. You know what your prize is? Wait. Okay, now I'm messing it up. I do this all the time. My husband hates it. Hold on, let me think about it for a second. Oh, I think he's like, she's like, what do I get? And she's, you get nothing. Life lesson, some things aren't worth doing. Freaking love that. It's so true. Some things aren't worth doing. Remember that, kids. But some are, and you need to do them. You know, that is wisdom, is knowing which things to focus on and which to just let go. I think I do need something on the nose to make it look more like a pumpkin, and the lips. Okay, that's what I was going to do. I was going to use the clay pot liner on my nose. Do we just want to do a triangle? Let's see. The nose is a part that can be easily wiped off and redone. Another life lesson for makeup. Sometimes you just gotta wipe the whole thing off and start over. And that's okay too. Cute! Kind of looks like a cat nose, but I think we're gonna go with it. Part of the good enough thing too for me is that if I don't say that at a certain point, I'll just keep messing with it, and you know, sometimes then it'll just end up making it worse, and that's no good either. So let's see. How are we feeling about this? Okay. Making a mess as usual. When I cook or do hair or art or makeup, I tend to make a big mess. This is ColourPop Lippy Sticks. I would prefer a liquid for this, but I don't have black liquid lipstick, so. Also, would have been a lot easier if I would have lined my lips with something first. Okay. I'm pretty sure my favorite part is the glitter eyebrows. I feel like maybe a little shadow. Yeah. I know this is not the brush that most people would use for doing this, but it works for me, so. Although I'm not loving, I usually use a NYX black. I don't like this one as much, but I also completely lose track of time when I'm doing makeup, so I have no idea what time it is. Mascara, almost forgot. This is the Urban Decay Perversion Mascara. I don't love it. I got it as a free sample. I have this really cool stuff that you would have to order online. It's Maron Glitter Mark Glitter Gel, and it's pretty cool. Basically like puffy paint for your face. Let's do that on the line. That looks cool. but it kind of looks like a spider. Should I do a line here? Should do one here though. Not allowed to blow my nose today. That's not a very straight line. So obviously I'm not an expert at applying this stuff, but it's pretty cool. See? It's a little wonky. There's glitter everywhere. Oh my god. Losing it. Losing it, folks. Just debating the line here. Should we risk it? Yeah, why not? I like it. Alright. Of course, I could do more and more and more, but I think this is actually pretty cool. Okay, wait. One more thing. One more. I think I do want to do a little black under my neck. See that? Take risks, people. Alright. I think we're done. Thanks for hanging out. Alright, happy Halloween!